Good evening, everyone. Bezrat Hashem. Today's class is dedicated for the success of the soldiers of Israel. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu protect them. And also for Ilui Neshama of Emma Chaya Ora Bat Mogi, Drisha Ben Lazar, Drisha Baruch Hashem Tenachem Began Eden. We have, Bezrat Hashem, a very relevant, interesting, modern class today. We're going to talk about AI, ChatGPT, and Judaism. What is the, basically, how does it connect to Judaism? What the Torah has to say about this technology? How is it going to influence and affect our lives? Is it good or bad? And Bezrat Hashem, we're going to also speak about if this was a tool, it's a new tool, or maybe it's a tool that already was exist in a different forms in Judaism. And why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveal it only in our generation? Must be a particular reason for that. Why in the time of the Rambam they didn't have AI? So Bezrat Hashem, there's a lot of what to talk about, and I do this class because, I'll tell you the truth, I did this class because I was not familiar with this GPT guy. And then, not long ago, someone introduced me to this, and I said like, wow, this is a serious tool. It knows so much, and it does it so quickly. And I wanted to see why Hashem brought this to the world, and I started to research. But before I started to research, I did a small experiment, and I wanted to ask this GPT a very important question. I just was curious because I saw that it's so smart and has so much knowledge. There was never in the history such a thing that has so much knowledge and can express it. There was no such a man, a human. So my curiosity was, what does he think about religion? What does this AI think about Torah, Judaism, if we compare it to other religions or other views of life? So I asked it in a way that it would not, answer me the answer that I want to get. Even though at the end I think he did answer me the answer that I wanted to get. But I asked a question. I asked them, according to all the knowledge you know, and according to all the proofs that there is for every religion, because every religion giving certain proofs to their claim, to their belief. Muslims for sure do some, Torah classes. Yeah, not Torah, but Quran classes, and they do have something to sell. They do have something to prove, I guess, to their audience. People convert to Islam. Same thing as Christianity. Same thing with Buddhism, Hinduism, and atheism, which is also a religion. So I told him, I want you to be, real. Not because I'm Jewish, not because, just tell me what you think has truth. That you think is more logical, is more makes sense. Who has the best proofs? You have all this information gathered. You know all the internet. And I was happy for a moment because his answer was like the answer of a rabbi. He said that there's no questions that Judaism makes sense more than anything else. And I even asked him, if I was a Muslim, and if you were a Muslim, after knowing all this knowledge that you know, would you become Jewish? He said yes. And he gives me the proofs why. And then I asked him and I told him, you know what? I'm really a Muslim. And I want you to prove me that my religion is right and the Jewish religion is not right. And he said, I can't do it. I can give you different points. Now, this is it was a long conversation. Then I asked other people to ask the same questions. I wanted to know what it would say. So he answered very, very similar. To all the Jewish friends that I told him to ask the same question, and also he was very Jewish. Because really Judaism has proofs that nobody has. Judaism makes sense more, and I actually printed it, all the conversation, very interesting. It's in Hebrew though. And he answered them the same. Then I said, okay, let's ask a Muslim to ask the same thing. Maybe, he knows us. He recognizes us. So my wife asked her friend from Iran. She actually left Iran because she was lesbian. She was in her school or something like that. And there, if you are like that, you need to die. So she left to another country. And it was very interesting that she asked it, and the AI answered her that Judaism is the true religion. But to her, because she's lesbian, he answered that for you it's better to go for the Reform Judaism. Because I think he realized that the Orthodox Judaism would not accept. But it still said Judaism. Now there are some people that the AI answered them that Islam or Christianity. But this is only when you just ask him for a short answer. And because he knows you and he knows what you like and he knows your questions all the time, he will answer something that you want to hear. So I didn't really get a proof, and I don't need the proofs of the AI for Judaism because we know this is truth. But it was very interesting. After that, I said I'm going to have a lecture about AI, and that's why I'm here today giving you this lecture, because of that story. So I was wondering, first of all, Judaism talks about AI? We have a lot of prophecies in Judaism. The prophecies of Judaism are the most accurate prophecies. There was no one prophecy in Judaism that didn't happen. Compare it to other religions, that they have prophecies that were completely false. And I'm not sure if I did a class on it here, but maybe it's a good subject to talk about, maybe in another class, to see the differences between Jewish history and prophets and not Jewish prophets. We had so many prophecies and they all were true until today. I even had my personal story with a prophecy that I saw in the Zohar before it happened, and I told everybody at that day there's going to be a war, and where there's going to be the war because the Zohar says so. And in the exact day the war started in Israel, because it was written in the Zohar. So we have prophecies that are good until today. So is the Torah spoke about AI? The answer is yes. The Torah spoke about this tool, and the Torah said it in a different way. The Zohar speaks about a time before the coming of Mashiach, that the whole world will be full of information. There's not going to be a lack of information. Back in the days, 50, 100, 200 years ago, if you would want to know some secrets of life, or certain information, you would need to find a mentor, a very smart person somewhere. It could be that he lives in a different continent, to get information. Today, everything is online. Not just online, you have this tool that can gather everything and just give it to you ready. Even though you shouldn't believe to everything he says, we'll speak about it in the end of the class. What's the problems with this AI today? Because he makes a lot of mistakes, especially in Judaism and Torah. I caught him. But the prophecy says that before the coming of Mashiach, there's going to be a lot of information, of knowledge, spread all over the world. People will not lack knowledge. You could know everything in a few clicks. And we see that this is happening. Now, the reason is happening, according to Kabbalah, is because, you remember we spoke once about the fruit and the shell. The shell always has to come before the fruit. Same thing, the shell represents the bad powers, the negative powers always. It's called klipa. The fruit always represents the good, the thing that we eat, the thing that we want. Always before the fruit comes the shell. It means that before the fruit, what is the fruit? The fruit is the coming of Mashiach. In the coming of Mashiach it says, Male'ah ha'aretz de'ah et Hashem kamayim layam mechasim. The world will be full of godly, divine information and knowledge like the water on earth that cover earth. Water is all over. There's more water than earth. That's how much there's going to be knowledge of God. But before the knowledge of God will reveal, the physical knowledge needs to be revealed in its highest level. So that's what's happening with the AI. The AI is the revelation of the physical knowledge of the world, that you can know everything about almost every physical thing in the world. And when this is going to be revealed, and people will see what powerful information we have and we can use, then Hashem says, now I can reveal you the real information, which is spiritual, which is godliness. And in a sense, it's a very, very important thing, because for us to understand the divine information will be easier, because the technology brought us to a certain place where we can handle such powerful things, such powerful knowledge, because we know we lived in an AI generation. So the AI is basically the introduction, the preparation for the real divine information that we'll get. And this is the proof that it's going to come soon. Mashiach is coming soon because of AI. AI is telling you, here Hashem is. All the information in the world is going to be revealed in the physical level. It means the shell is here. Now the fruit needs to come, Mashiach. And he will reveal the real information. Our brain, it says that in times of Mashiach, we will drink a certain wine that is 6,000 years old. Huh? What a wine. I was recently in the winery here, and do you know that we have a kosher winery? One of my friends, Rabbi Israel Yakobov, so he invited us to come to his winery. I did some wine tasting, very good kosher wine. So he told me, this wine is 2 years ago, this wine is 3 years ago. And the more years it's in the
vat.
How you call this? The
vat, the VAT.
The vat?
Not casket.
Yeah. The barrel, yeah. So it's better. Imagine at 6,000 years old. Misheshet Yemei Rabbi Shitazif HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, when I created the world, I took some grapes, I squeezed them, and I kept them. I squeezed them and I kept them for when Mashiach is going to come, you're going to drink that wine. Going to make a lechaim drol. And this wine, you know what it's going to do? It's gonna open your mind to a new type of AI. That you're gonna be the AI. It's called AI is the acronym of intelligence. Artificial. ملخوتي. Artificial intelligence. But now it's not gonna be artificial anymore. This is the artificial one that comes before the fruit. But there is the real intelligence. It's not the artificial. This is what Mashiach is going to bring to the world. This is what's going to happen after you drink this glass of wine. And eat this piece of the Leviathan, of the fish. There's a huge fish that was going to be given to us to eat. A small fish that will open your mind. I know it sounds like, stories. But it's written in our prophecies. And that's the truth. So this is the AI is coming. Now, Arizal says that you will see before the coming of Mashiach, the information that will be revealed in the world is going to be insane. People will know so much. They would not remember necessarily, but they will have the knowledge. You can get it any time. And we also have the tools that this knowledge can help us. So this is first thing. Second thing, I think that this AI came to this world to show us few messages. One message, this is my opinion, is to the religious world. Do you know that in our world, the Jewish observant people, who is considered a righteous tzaddik, a righteous man? Someone that is really close to God. You know who? Someone that knows a lot of Torah. Right? People are excited to listen to rabbis, to Talmidei Chachamim, that they know a lot. He knows the whole Talmud. He knows the whole Zohar. It means he is righteous. Right? Rabbi Nachman from Breslov says this is a big, big, big mistake. This is actually the message of the Baal Shem Tov already. The Baal Shem Tov wanted to say that being righteous has nothing to do with your knowledge. Knowledge is an artificial thing. It's not the real righteousness. It's showing off. It's also, I'm not saying that learning a lot of Torah, it is give you the potential to get to be a righteous, but it's not what makes you righteous. There were a lot of big rabbis that were very knowledgeable, that they became even the enemy of Judaism. One of the examples is Korach. Korach was one of the most genius people on earth. He knew the Torah very well. But his heart was not clean. His character traits were bad. He had jealousy in Moshe Rabbeinu. He was jealous. He couldn't handle the idea that he gets respect and he is not. He is left behind. And that's why Korach became basically a sinner. Same thing is Yerovam ben Nevat, one of the kings of Israel, that they say that Yerovam, nobody could argue with him on anything. He knew everything. He could win any scholar in Torah arguments. But at the end of the day, he made all Am Yisrael to do idol worshipping. Because of what? Also because of the same thing. Honor. Jealousy. How come the other king gets all the respect and I don't get it? You understand? So Rabbi Nachman says, the real righteous man, it could be the most simple person, that it doesn't know all the Torah, one of us. But his heart is to Hashem. He really wants to do the right thing. He really wants to He speaks to God on a daily basis. He has a connection with God. I know people that learn Torah all day, they don't connect it to God. They're not connected. The Torah needs to bring you to connection, but a lot of time it doesn't. The real connection is prayer. The real connection is speaking to Hashem. The real connection is emunah. Believe. Believe that everything that is happening is from God. I recently saw a rabbi. They invited him to a certain ceremony, something. They gave him a sit that was, according to him, not to his level, not to his kavod, somewhere behind, now with the VIP, you know? The guy got so mad. He started an argument with the person. He says, why you do that to me, this and that. This person maybe knows a lot of Torah, but he is not practicing it. Unfortunately. The Torah says, B'mkomcha yeshivucha. Hashem puts you in a position. Hashem put you in that chair and not in this chair. It's all from Hashem. Where's your emunah? So I think the message of AI tells us that, you know what? Enough for this lie that learners are righteous. In a year, everybody can know everything. The knowledge is right here. A person today can text in the AI and say, okay, I want you to prepare to give me a whole lecture with sources. And it will prepare it to you and you can speak. If you're a good speaker, you can just say things. All the knowledge is here. It doesn't mean that you're righteous. Righteous means heart. And that's the problem with it. Why it's called artificial? Because this is knowledge without soul and heart. And that's what it lacks. And that's the message he wants to say. That really, Hashem wants your heart. It doesn't want your brain. Brain, we have AI. It's okay. Heart, nobody can make it artificial. Heart is really you. So we stopped where we said that the AI was already exist in a different form before also. Where was it exist? There is, actually a few months ago, if you remember, I was in Prague. Prague, that's how you say it in English? Prague. And Prague, it's known in the Jewish world, who is buried in Prague? The Maharal from Prague. The Maharal from Prague, Rabbi Yehuda Liva, Rabbi Leib. They call him the Maharal in Prague. He was a very righteous man 500 years ago. And he was also a big Kabbalist. And if you remember, we once spoke about something called practical Kabbalah. Now, practical Kabbalah is something that you can basically do what God is doing. God creates things from nothing. We have the ability, because we were born in the image of God, we have power to create things from nothing. So, for example, you can create, let's say, an animal. By the way, it happened in the time of Yosef. It's a very known midrash that when Yosef and his brothers, he went to see what his brothers are doing, right? His father told him, go see what your brothers are doing. He went to see what his brothers are doing. And when he came there, he saw that they were eating meat without slaughtering it properly. And then he went to the father and says, Abba, you don't understand. They eat non-kosher meat. They don't slaughter it like it's properly. They do it in a way that it's not allowed. And they got very mad. Why you are, telling things to our father? Well, why are you saying it? Now, the father was not mad at them because he taught them practical Kabbalah, how you can create an animal from words. And they were practicing it in the field. And according to Judaism, an animal that was created in the 6 days of creation needs to be slaughtered in a certain way with a knife to be kosher. But something that was created with words doesn't have a soul. And because it doesn't have a soul, you don't have to slow. You can just even, sorry to say it, but you can even just take a leg. It doesn't feel pain because it was created with word, with Kabbalah. And they practiced it. Just Yosef was young. He didn't know that this is the type of animal that they're dealing with, and it's okay. Maharal Prague, he had this power. One time he went to the river of Moldova, and he took a lot of sand, and he made like a big statue from earth, from Adama, Ken? That looks like a man, human being. And then his students, 2 students came with him. They were surrounding this statue, blowing shofar, saying different prayers and names of God, and trying to bring life to this statue from earth. And then they were successful. Maharal Prague wrote on the forehead of this, he called it Golem. It's very known, the Golem from Prague. He wrote the word emet in Hebrew on his forehead, and he made him stand up. He was huge. And this is known in the also not Jewish history in Prague. And he created it because at their time, Jews were killed a lot of time because of people would, the anti-Semitism was already back then. People would always say that Jews are, using the blood of the Christian children for matzot on Pesach, and they would say different things about the Jews. And the government and people would, chaz v'shalom, prosecute Jews. So to protect the nation in Prague, Maharal created this artificial man called Golem. And he was very smart. I mean, he was listening to all what you're saying. Maharal will tell him a commandment, he will do it. Like the AI. He's here to serve you. Whatever he would say, he will do. And there's a lot of stories about him. There was one time that the mayor of the city wanted to put a decree on the Jews. Maharal sent the Golem. The Golem looked at him from his window. He saw the Golem from the window. All of a sudden, the window broke. Boom. He had like powers that we don't have. One time there was a story that there was a kid, a Christian kid that died, and they wanted to say that the Jews killed him. They throw it in the synagogue. The Golem right away came, took it, and put it back where it needs to be. And he was saving the Jewish nation in Prague. After a while, this Golem, and that's something very interesting that also we have this, could have this with the AI. The Maharal saw that he loses control on him. And he started to do things by himself without our control. So according to one opinion, so what did Maharal do? He took him to the synagogue. I was in that synagogue. To the second floor, which until today nobody gets there. Even the non-Jews. They're scared of this place. This place is completely closed. Nobody goes there. Every person that tried to go there died after either there or after a few days. Because the Maharal says he's going to put this Golem to sleep there, and he doesn't want anyone to get inside. And he said some names of God in that room, that whoever comes here will be somehow nizok, damaged. And there is story, there was one Bachur Yeshiva that thought that he's, okay, I'm going to go there upstairs. He went there upstairs. After one day, they found him dead in his house. There was another non-Jew that came there just to clean one time, because people didn't go there for years. He fainted. It was very hard to get him back. But Kitsu, this Golem story is a very mystical story. But you see that there was such a thing that was created artificially by a man. Okay, so they used technology, and he used the names of God and Kabbalah. And he was doing whatever we're going to tell him. He had a lot of knowledge, but he didn't have a heart. The Maharal says he was trying to teach him Torah. He would get everything, he would remember everything, but he would not have a heart to understand the deepness, the right way of learning Torah with the heart. So this is the Maharal Prague. So we see that in Judaism there was such a thing. Very similar to it. Our rabbis, our sages, they had a certain power more than the technology of the AI. But we see from here one thing, which is very, very important. What we see is that this artificial intelligence doesn't have emotions, doesn't have a heart. This artificial intelligence doesn't go to the mikveh. It doesn't pray. It doesn't do mitzvot. It means that it's artificial. It doesn't have holiness in it. And here we get to a point that I think is one of the most important points that I want to talk about, and I think it's important to talk about. The danger of this ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, is very big. Because you know what's happening now? People stop getting advice from other people anymore. You know? I see that I get less phone calls recently. People don't need me anymore. You know? Pesach is coming, Rosh Hashanah is coming. Usually your phone doesn't stop to ring. Today, ChatGPT. What happened in this? Now, we will speak about it. You have to understand that ChatGPT can never be an halachic source. Can never tell you an halakha. And the reason is because it's artificial, and a lot of halachot is individual. Two people can come to me with the same question. I will say, Dror, for you this and for you that. Why? Because you have a family that are like this and that, and your background in this and that, and his background is different. I have to know you, I have to feel you, I have to understand your situation. Artificial intelligence, that's why I said, Baruch Hashem, that I'm a rabbi, cannot never ever take the job of a rabbi. Can't. So, but a lot of people use it. Now, I'll tell you what's the danger in using it. You think, oh, it's such a good thing. You know, when a person has a problem, a few years ago, he would seek an advice, a solution. That solution would always be either he will go to his parents that are more educated and have more experience, grandparents sometimes even. I used to take advice from my grandparents. From a scholar, a rabbi, a mentor, someone that can help you. Today, people make calculation and they say, any person in the world that I will ask for advice would never be more knowledgeable than the AI. The AI see all the cases and the scenarios that happen with people in whole history. So of course it's going to be better for me to ask that. The answer will be more accurate. Because even if, let's say, my parents will tell me an answer according to their experience, but it's their experience. Maybe their experience is wrong. The AI has all people experiences, whatever it's written there. And in a sense, it's right. But the problem is that when someone gives you an advice, it doesn't just give you information. It's a lot more than that. He gives you his heart. When you go to a rabbi and you ask for something, you don't know where to live. Rabbi, I really don't know. Should I live in Miami or should I stay in Canada? Should I go to, I don't know, to Israel? Should I make an aliyah? Or even if you come for and asking, Rabbi, I have a problem with anger management. I can't manage my anger. I'm very, very, easy. It's very easy to turn me, to get angry. What do I do? The rabbi will give you an advice according to his experience and his knowledge in Torah. But you know what he also will give you? Something that you don't see. He will give you his powers of anger management because he went through that as well. And he transfers it to you in his words. You don't just get information. You get powers. You get energy. And this is something that happened, and not just rabbis, even a friend. Even a friend. Let's say a friend goes through a divorce. Very hard time. He goes to another friend that went through that divorce. Now, his case could be a lot different than him. But he went through this very hard experience. And when he talks to you and tells you the advice, and we hope that he gives you a good one, he gives you his heart also. He gives you the power to, whatever powers that he gained from going through this, also somehow pass to you and you get it as well. This is something the AI would never give you. And if we will leave the old way of solving our problems, going to people, going to rabbis, going to teachers, going to our parents, we will lose this power. The AI will tell you what to do. It will give you a very, very good advice, and even it will make you a whole list how to do it step by step and very organized. But it would not give you the powers to do it. It would not give you the energy to do it. And this is how we become weak and weak and weak and weak. We're not just going to become weak because of this ChatGPT, because we don't work anymore. He's working for us. That's another issue. We're also going to become weak because we don't get advice from people. We don't get the energy from them. We don't communicate. You know who is going to control the world soon? Religious Jews. You know how I know? You know how we call the religious Jews in Hebrew? Like the nickname, how all the non-religious call the religious? They call them dos. נכון? אתה dos. Right? You are a dos. You never heard that? Max, you didn't hear that? Okay, maybe only Israeli knows this. Like, if you are very religious, you are a dos. I don't know where it came from. I think it came from the word dat. In Ashkenazi, it's like dos. That means your religion. But they call him dos. So I had a chidush. I had an insight. How do I know that the religious people will win at the end? Because of Windows. Yeah, Windows. Who wins? The dos. Yeah. No, but this is just a joke. Why the religious people will basically control the world? You know why? They are going to be the most powerful people in the world because they're not going to give up to this GPT, to this, because they will still learn Gemara, they will still learn Mishnah, they will still think with their brain, they will still, because it's basics of Judaism. Everybody's brain is going to be in a very low level because they depend on something that does everything for them. And when you don't work with a muscle, the muscle becomes weak. The only people that will still work with the brain muscle so hard, like in past generations, is going to be the religious Jews, because that's what they have to do. So think, what school you send your child. Now someone called me from Israel. He tells me, Rabbi, you know that now more and more schools, they tell you that don't bring pens. We learn with computers. They learn with the computer. Soon they're going to learn with the GPT. That's going to be the learning program. Who knows the GPT better? So the brain will be so weak. But whose brain going to stay sharp? Those who learn all the time. No, we have to do that. That's the old fashion. So this is very, very important, guys. This is because I think this class is very important because of this technology coming up, and now everybody is excited. And why? It does the job that I need. It does the things that I need. Right, but you know that any idea that you will get from the GPT cannot be successful like an idea that you get from a businessman. A businessman with an experience that comes to you and tells you, listen, I'm telling you, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's not just giving you information what to do. He gives you his heart. He gives you his energy. He gives you something spiritual also that will be with you and help you to succeed in that thing. It's not an artificial information. It's a live information. It's alive. And that's why I think that, with all the respect to the ChatGPT, and I love him, her, whoever it is, and it's very useful, we have to understand that don't use it for everything. Don't use it for everything, especially not for an advice. You have a shalom bayit problem with your wife? Someone told me, best, I go to the GPT, I tell him the problem, what she said, what I said, and he's going to be my, he makes peace. Actually, one couple did it. They sent it to me. Look how bad is this. They had a fight. He wrote to his GPT what happened. And she wrote to her GPT what happened. And what do you think the GPT did? For him, it took his side. And for her, it took her side. It made even more problems. She is coming with the GPT to her husband and showing him, you see? He thinks like me. This is a new level arguments. It's not good. Go to someone that has experience and he went through this and he knows it from Torah perspective, and he will give you an advice with the powers to make it and to do it, and with a blessing. The GPT cannot give you a blessing. As I told you, GPT don't go to the mikveh. He's not holy. He cannot give you. When you go to a rabbi, he gives you an advice. He gives you an advice with a blessing, with holiness, holy words coming from his mouth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem speaks through him. Affects you, helps you. You know, some people, they go to tzaddikim, to righteous people, for an advice. Sometimes the rabbi don't answer your question. He doesn't actually give you a solution. But just by talking to him, you already got what you need. You already got what you need. Like, you know the story with the apple? Did I tell you the story with the apple of Cook? A guy didn't have money for living. He had a house, tiny house, with 8 kids. 2 bedrooms. So 8 kids in 1 bedroom. In Israel. Now there in Israel there is a certain place. It's called those people. It's like housing. That the government gives housing. He was on the list for a long time. When his time came, and he was like 8 kids already. Someone that had protections, he knew someone else, they gave him the house instead of him. He was so disappointed. He was outside somewhere, he was like very sad. One of the Hasidim there saw him and says like, what happened? You look very bad. Well, can I help you somehow? Tells him all the story. He says, there is a rabbi in Tveria, Rav Kook. Go to him. He will give you a blessing and advice. I'm telling you, you'll see miracles. He spoke so highly about this rabbi. He said, okay, but Tveria is like 3 hours away from Yerushalayim. It's so hot. Take the bus, and he says, okay, but the whole day will go out, we'll finish, but he says it's worth it. He took the bus. Bus didn't have air conditioner. Got something there. Was sweating all 2.5, 3 hours to Tveria. They got to Tveria. He saw a huge lineup outside. Tveria is one of the most hot places in all Israel. Stays in the sun for another 1.5 hours, waiting for the rabbi. Finally, his turn came. He came to the rabbi. He just started to speak to him. He told him the problem. The rabbi looks at him. He had an apple. He takes the apple, tell him bracha v'atzlacha, gives him the apple and send him away. The guy got like, I came all the way, suffered all this, and I waited to get that apple. I thought I'm going to get an advice or something. I'm going to get a solution. It's a miracle. He comes back home, and on the way he thinks like, what I'm going to tell my wife? She stayed with 8 kids. So he said, maybe this apple, it's from the rabbi, so it has to be a miraculous apple. So he came home. He told all the kids, guys, you don't understand what I got. This is an apple of miracles. I got it from the rabbi. It has a lot of, whatever. He told them a whole story about the apple. And then they started to fight. Abba, I want the apple. I want the apple. And then he says, 1 second, I'm going to cut it. Don't worry, everybody's going to get one piece. And they are fighting, and I want the apple. All of a sudden, someone knocks the door. They open the door. It's one of the representatives of that company that give housing. The guy standing by the door almost crying. And he said, I came to check the urgency of your need for a house. And I'm standing by the door for 10 minutes. And I hear how the kids are fighting for an apple. I'm telling you that I will do everything I can that you will get a house within a week. And they got a house, 5 bedrooms. Shtabach Shem Olad. So then he understood what's the power of the apple. The tzaddik gives you a bracha, gives you an end. You don't understand what he does. What he gives you, it's going to help you. This is you're not going to get from the GPT. That's why we have to keep the old-fashioned way. You have a problem, go to your parents, go to your grandparents, go to your uncle, go to your rabbi. Speak to people that have experience. That's the way to get solutions. Now, according to halacha, people ask, can we ask halachic question, the ChatGPT? A big question mark. Why? Because the ChatGPT, first of all, there is, as I told you, there's a lot of things that are individual, Sephardic, Ashkenazi. I gave this lecture once, and in the lecture, I told them, open your phones, ask the ChatGPT a question in halacha, and see what he's answering, and you will see that he will be a little bit wrong. They all did it in the lecture, in my Hebrew lecture. And they saw, he gave a good, very good explanation, but it was still a little bit off in certain things. And for each one, there's a different answer, so you cannot answer everybody. That's why, yes, if you are in an urgent situation and you don't know what bracha to make on a papaya, so you can ask the ChatGPT. Most likely it will take from the internet all the rabbis that they asked him and it will give you the right answer. But when it comes to more complicated things, especially for your life, what to do in life, we shouldn't depend on artificial intelligence. And I think that maybe in a few years, the artificial intelligence will be more and more and more and more advanced, that it would be very accurate, but it's still not going to be enough to substitute a rabbi, but it would be enough for rabbis to use it as a tool to write questions, to write answers to questions, because you can check it. So rabbi would be able to use that tool for Torah things, but a person would still say the best thing to get is that advice from a real human with a heart. And that's basically it. So if we're going to summarize, you have a question? There's a big difference between computer and artificial intelligence. The computer would not give you the answer, first of all, for everything. You're not talking about the computer, you're talking about Google. Yeah? Okay, so Google will give you different things that are on the site, but the artificial intelligence, you know what is this? It's basically, it's a machine that learned so much information and keep learning all the time. And according to its knowledge, it gives you a certain output. Yes, and there's output. It scans books. Yeah.
And then it looks for the ones that have the highest amount of interaction responses.
What? Doesn't do that. It's not in the same. Now Google came up with their own איך קוראים לזה? Gemini. Yeah, so they also have this, but this is the future. But I just wanted to be clear that first of all, Torah was talking about it. Second of all, this is what gives us a sign that Mashiach is very, very, very close. Second of all, it's a great tool, but this tool doesn't have a heart. It was also exist in the times of Maharal Prague, in the times before, something like that, similar to that. By the way, there is a certain possibility that it will go out of control. You know what people are scared now? That the artificial intelligence is going to be so intelligent, so smart, that it will basically will go against humanity. You understand what I'm saying? So it can go out of control. Now, again, we are not scared of it. We know HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, control everything. But that's people talking about it. So, but at the end of the day, for us, halakha lema'aseh, to know, according to Torah perspective, we should use it for different things, but we should not be addicted to it. We should use our brain. We should still learn Torah. We should still do things ourselves. Do not say, okay, it's easy, so let's do it. No, if you want to live for a long life, if you want your brain to, to not have a Alzheimer very, chas v'shalom, early in your life, your muscles of brain needs to work. And for that, you need to learn. You need to use your brain and not to give the machine to do things for you. It's enough that we have computers and calculators. Now this GPT, בכלל. So, and when you want to get an advice, the advice is not just information. It's also something deep inside, something a soul, a heart. And this is you can get only from people. So Bezat Hashem, hopefully, there's much more to talk about GPT, and of course there's going to be more things that are coming up, and we'll see how it's basically a tool that will help Mashiach. But Bezat Hashem, this is already for us not to learn it, to see with our own eyes. Bezat Hashem soon. And I hope HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make us and all the Jewish nation and all the people in the world use this tool only for good, because internet is a good thing also. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. GPT is a good thing. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. That's what Jews needs to do in this world. We have to use all those tools. Rabbi Lubavitch said that. But to use it for good. And to be very careful that it doesn't ruin different things in our life, like we said, us getting an advice from the right person, and also thinking with our brain and not just depending on that. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. If you have questions, bechavod. Yes, Linda.
Do robots use AI?
Yes. So that's the thing. AI is robots also. Do you know that soon, each one of us, and I'm not telling you dreams, each one of us very, very soon will have a robot in his house that will do laundry, that will fold your laundry, that will make food, that will speak to you, and this is already exists. And it's not going to cost much money. And then it's going to be a real, he's going to also answer you halachic questions. You know? But this is what I'm saying. Kadosh Baruch Hu will not give it to go so much far. That's why I know Mashiach is very soon. Yes.
I saw a clip a couple of years ago that I think it was in Japan, in a store, they were trying to show how wonderful this robot was and all it could do, and suddenly the robot went crazy. And it destroyed, running up and down the aisles.
Yes. So this is what.
No, they didn't know what, it was like a criminal.
Yeah, so this is what the world is scared of. And even the people that made the AI, they say that this is a possibility, that will go out of control and do things by its own. But as Jews that believe in Hashem, we know that this AI is a creation of Hashem. Nobody can control anyone without a Kadosh Baruch Hu's will. So there's no point of even thinking about it or have any fear from it, because God controls the world and He will make the right thing. Okay? Yes.
When can you access artificial intelligence?
What?
What place, or where is the place of artificial intelligence?
I have no idea. I'm not an expert in artificial intelligence. I am learning Torah. This class is a Torah class about artificial intelligence. I don't know where is it. And there's different types of them. Yes, Sadiq, what was your question?
You said earlier that we should only be going to a person to get our true learning, whatever the
Right, to get an advice from a person, yeah.
So I'd love to know what's your take on one of the things that ChatGPT, that our AI is getting to, not like right this moment, very soon, which could be in this kind of agentic AI, agent AI, where it can take all the learning from a certain tzaddikim or certain sages, so you could ask a question and give an answer, a new answer, based on all of the body of, and there's other examples of that already where, for instance, in Chabad Lubavitch, sometimes they'll go to different letters to ask a question, and then they'll
Yeah.
go to Hebrew of a tzaddik to ask a question, they get an answer. So I'm curious, what's your perspective on if
If this is, yeah.
is that something that should be?
Yeah, so his question is like, in the future, AI will be so smart that it will take all the opinions of the righteous people that were in history, and it will give us an answer based on that. So why? Adraba, he can combine the Chafetz Chaim and Rabbi Nachman and the Gaon Mivilna and everybody together. Maybe he's going to come up with an answer that is more accurate and right. Again, it's missing its information, but it's missing the soul. I'll give an example. When Rabbi Nachman wrote his book, even though he's not alive right now, the soul of Rabbi Nachman is in the book. When I read a sentence from Rabbi Nachman's book, he is talking to me. Actually, the Gemara says that the lips of the tzaddik are moving in the grave when you learn his Torah, as if he is talking right now. So even if someone has passed away already, I learn his book, it's as if he is alive and he gives me that advice and I get the energy from the book. Do you know that in Judaism, a book of a righteous man, just by itself is holy? People use the book of Rabbi Elimelech Melizhansk, they put it, a lady that needs to give birth, they put it under her pillows to have an easy birth, they have an easy birth. The Rabbi Mibri said for people that went to the war in the First World War to take the Ben Ish Chai book and everybody will take it, will be protected. And that's what happened. Just by having the book, it has a Kedusha, it has a holiness. So, one second. So, a man, if you go to a righteous man that is alive, you don't just get the advice, you don't just get the information, you get the holiness, the power, the experience, the energy, which AI cannot pass it to you. The book also gives you the energy, the holiness, which the AI cannot because it's changing. That's why it's a nice thing, but we should not substitute it. Not at all. And if we will substitute it, we'll do bad to ourselves.
If I can then comment back.
Yeah.
I don't want to be saying something you're not saying, but if I can add what you're saying then also, which is a very interesting concept, is that part of the risk is that we need to connect with the source material. Like it's
Right, with the source.
even if it's processed through,
Exactly.
it's now not the source material that has the
Right.
of the tzaddik or anything.
Exactly. Yes.
So I want to ask you the question. If the example, if the people do cremation Jewish, what's on the
If they do what?
cremation, when there's no money, some people do the Jewish cremation. It's a law, Jewish.
לא הבנתי, what is the cremation? Huh?
When the people dead, yeah, when the people die,
It's not allowed according to Judaism to burn the body. It's not allowed.
not allowed.
Not allowed.
If the people done, what happened?
It's very bad for that soul. And again, people do, they do, but we shouldn't do it.
So next question is like my friend, Jewish, and the mother now almost dead in the machine, but the doctor say, let's do the needle, the kill. You be allowed to do? Or
Yeah. So you're not allowed to kill a person in any case, even if he's in the hospital and the doctors say that there's no chances, and there is reasons for that. There is reasons for that, and good reasons for that. But this is the halakha. We're not gonna get into it because it's off topic. Yeah. Yes, Linda.
Where did they get that word chat, what is chat GPT?
You asking me questions that I have no idea. I am not an expert.
I thought maybe, but it stunned me that of all the names in the world, and this is the greatest invention in our generation.
Yeah.
They should call it something that is hard to remember, doesn't mean anything.
We need to check. We need to check definitely what's the meaning of it. There is a Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg, and I really like his Torah lessons and writings. He is saying that every type of technology or a name of something that the people call it in certain name, it has a deep reason why. They didn't even know. But he takes it sometimes and do gimatrias and do numerical values, and he tells you how this is connected to. He is doing like very, very chaval azman. So it must be a certain reason and something deep and kabbalistic in this name, but I have no idea what is that. Okay? What the? Rabbi Nachman wrote few books. One of the main book that Rabbi Nachman wrote called Likutei Moharan. It has also an edition in English. It's not one topic, it's tons of topics. Get the book and you will see. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen v'Amen.